Good morning. How are you doing today? Good? That's good. Well, I'm blessed, not stressed. So what's today's topic about? Well, today's topic is about, John chapter 1, verses 12 and 13. But as many as received him, to them gave he power to become the sons of God, even to them that believe on his name, which were born not of blood, nor the will of the flesh, nor the will of man, but of God. What does this mean? Especially the second verse. Some people will be confused and say, well, I was born of the flesh. My mom gave birth to me, and she conceived me, right? That's not what this is talking about. See, when he finds us at our lowest point, and we let him in after years of him knocking at the door, when we let him in, he changes us. And we are no longer the same person we once were. We are born again, right? For we have died to our sin, to our old ways, and have become a new creation. Now, there is a verse here, or there's part of this verse that there's some quote unquote religions take out of context. To them gave he power to become the sons of God, even to them that believe on his name. Some people take that and they're like, oh, we can become gods. No, you can't. Just because you're the son of a king does not mean you're meant to be king, right? And, they say, well, the bloodline, it doesn't matter. We cannot become God. There's no way we can do that. There is only one, and that is him. No. That is so far from the truth. However, we can become his. In other words, if we accept him, we can become his children, adopted into his family. Right? No longer a slave to sin, but rather a servant of him. I don't know about you, but I'd rather be a servant than a slave. Why? Because, slavery back then, it's a hot-blooded term now, but back then all it meant was a person that was working to pay off wages or debt that is owed to a business or a person or something. That's all it was. So technically, being employed is a slavery, but people don't want to hear that. But my point is this: with a servant, you show your devotion through how you serve. It's not about how much you serve either, because is it fair for a master that has a servant who is in a wheelchair to tell him that if he truly wants to serve him, to make him walk up those stairs, knowing full well he cannot? Is that really determining the sheer value of his servitude by asking him to do something that the master knows he cannot? No. And just like that, Jesus will never ask you to do something that you cannot do. He's not going to ask you to go in and do brain surgery if you're not a brain surgeon. He won't do that. He might give you something challenging to do so that you can learn to depend on him and ask him for the strength and the guidance and the wisdom and whatever is necessary. That is true. However, he will not ask you to do something that is impossible for you, nor does your lack of ability to do the impossible make you any less of a good servant. Now, we do have, power and the authority to tread on serpents and scorpions and the enemy, right? In other words, you don't have to go back to that sin. You don't have to go back to those old ways, for those old ways do not define you, just as the choices of yesterday do not determine the choices you make today. So go forth today and seek him Put him first, and he will never leave you last.